Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the show. I am your host with the most, Chris Talks. Hope that you're having a wonderful day because I am definitely having a good one. All right, listeners, on this episode, we are digging into what? Politics? Yeah, we're digging into politics this episode. So... that was too early. Anyway, you're supposed to hit that right before the thing. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, so on this episode, Mayor Adams defends his veto of the How Many Stops Act. Did I say that right? The How Many Stops Act?
Wait, what?
What in the is that? I don't know what that is, but listen, let's let Sarah AI report this. Just hit it, Ed. Just hit it, man.
Mayor Adams was right to veto the How Many Stops Act the act would require, among other things, that police officers fill out a form every time they speak to a witness or possible witness to a crime. If the officer approaches someone on the street and asks if he or she saw anything in relation to a crime, the officer has to fill out a form. We are not talking about stops, in the traditional sense, where police detain a person. Those are already covered by another mandatory police report, commonly known as the Stop and Frisk Report, which has been around for decades. The new bill requires reporting when the officer approaches people on the street and asks them questions for any law enforcement or investigative purpose. Yes, as supporters say, it doesn't require a form if the officer just says, hello, or, how ya doins, but pretty much anything else to do with investigating crime. Community policing. Conditions in the neighborhood, or fears people in the community might have will require a form. The recently passed How Many Stops Act would require NYPD officers to fill out forms every time they speak with a witness or possible witness. Stephen Young. Think about it. Every time there is a serious crime in a neighborhood, the police do a canvass, knocking on doors and asking people in the street if they saw or heard anything. An officer doing a canvass can talk to dozens of people in just a few hours but may only get relevant information from one, if any. Under this bill, every interview, productive or not, will require a form. The officer must either stop to fill out the form during his interview or take notes on the race, gender, age of the person interviewed, the reason for this particular interview, the circumstances that led to it, whether the encounter was based on a radio run, information from another police officer, witness or other, and whether a summons was issued, force used or arrest made to complete the form later. Adams sets up City Hall showdown after vetoing bill forcing NYC cops to record all street stops. If a patrol car responds to the scene of a shooting and the officers start asking people on the scene if they saw anything, the officer must fill out a form for every person questioned, even if they don't answer. A police officer saying good morning to a storekeeper would not trigger a report, it's deemed a casual conversation. But if the officer knows the store owner's business had been burglarized and asks her if she has any information about the burglary, the officer has to fill out the form even if the owner has no new information. And every subsequent time the officer asks the owner anything related to the burglary requires a new form. If the officer greets a mother pushing her baby carriage and asks how she's doing, God forbid she tells him her car was stolen, because the officer must fill out a form. If the officer walks up to a woman walking alone on a dark, deserted street at 2 a.m., he has a credible reason to approach her safety and asks if she's safe. The officer must fill out a form. Conversations with confidential informants about crimes in the neighborhood, fill out a form. In all these examples, the people being questioned are not being detained in any way. They are free to walk away from the officer at any time and refuse to answer questions. Yet a form is still required. Public advocate Jumani Williams claimed that the form only takes seconds to fill out is almost laughable. There is not a police department-generated form on God's green earth that takes seconds to fill out. But let's assume for argument's sake the form takes 1 minute to complete. There are about 30,000 uniformed police officers, detectives and sergeants who are most likely to interact with the public. New NYC cop bill will likely provide useless data on stops and lengthen cop shifts further. Sources. Experts. If just half of them fill out only one form a day, and it takes 1 minute to complete, that is 15,000 minutes or 250 hours of police time wasted each day. If it takes 2 minutes, 500 hours, 3 minutes, 750 hours each day. In the recent capture of the serial stabber in Queens, the police interviewed more than 1,000 people. Every one of those interviews would result in a how many stops form being filled out in addition to the regular police reports. That's 1,000 forms, 1,000 minutes of police time, or almost 17 hours, filling out a meaningless form. And that's on just one investigation. The effects of this nonsense are predictable. After a while, the officer will waste time filling out the form, not complete the form, becoming subject to disciplinary action, or even worse, stop asking questions. None are good. You cannot underestimate the harm that will be done to police morale for so little benefit. It is one thing to require officers to fill out a report every time they detain or frisk someone, as they must do now. But requiring these forms to be completed on so many investigative and initially social interactions with the people of this city is so demeaning. Especially when you're doing it because you believe your police force is racist. You ask them to run toward danger and risk their lives and safety every day. And then you treat them this way. Editorial NYC Council members must see the light on latest anti-cop insanity and uphold Adams' veto. Another very serious fly in the ointment is whether these forms are discoverable under New York's discovery statute. When an officer interviews a witness and gets a statement, besides filing a police report detailing the statement, he must also file a how many stops form, because that form contains information on why the officer stopped that witness. The prosecution may need to turn it over to the defense in the case. The form therefore may have to be connected to both the crime being investigated and the witness being interviewed when the officer completes it so it can be retrieved for trial. That would require more data to be entered on the form to connect it to the case.
All right, folks. Let's get into this. Man, I got a lot to say. Let me dissect this right quick. All right, folks. Hit that ad. Cause we'll do all the we'll do everything afterwards. Cause this one to me is really it's kind of bugged out, and I'm very glad that the mayor stopped this. He vetoed this bill. Let's give him a round of applause for that one. And let's give whatever council or congressmen or senators or whatever who give him the dummy buzzer, man. Just listening to this, if you're not sitting back in your seat going,
Bruh.
I don't know what you're thinking. If you didn't catch what was just said, then I suggest you go and play this back real quick, because I mean, Sarah did give us a couple of examples of these situations that would be very either, let me say, let me go with it, probably considered racist, or just really wasting a lot of freaking time, because stopping the name of the act is called How Many Stops Act. It sounds ridiculous.
Bruh.
It just completely sounds ridiculous. Because and I have to say this, because of all the examples that we're giving, you can just listen how much time that will be taken up if there was an actual crime being committed. Because these people, the police officers, and I'm not saying that the police officers in New York City are the greatest in the world, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Bruh.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is you will be taking up too many of these officers' time, and you will be giving these officers, in my opinion, I know I roll with the two-headed coin, but in my opinion, you'll be giving these officers reasons to just stop people. In my opinion, you'll be giving them reason because you can suspect that somebody witnessed a crime that they probably didn't. But you have to fill out a form off of that suspicion. Or just like the example they gave you, somebody walking down the block and, oh, somebody still, how was your day? Oh, regular conversation. They say something is missing. Now you got to fill out a report. That's crazy. I mean, really, Ed,
Bruh.
that is, that is crazy, bro. That is completely crazy. That is completely crazy. As much as police have to deal with just working in these communities, because I mean, come on, if you work in a community with a bunch of what Hispanics are melanin people, you know what I'm saying?
Bruh.
Yeah, that's right. I said it. Melanin people, they are not going to want to give you any information. It's just like Sarah said earlier. If you speak to 1,000 people, well, if you speak to 100 people, you probably get information out of one of them. But you have to fill out all these reports, and then some of them may not even lead to any type of it may not be any good tips at all. So most of them may not be no good tips at all. It might be just people talking or people afraid of whatever the reason they are. They're doing what they're doing. And we see this a lot in minority neighborhoods. We see this a lot. You know? Or you get that little ghetto chick that's in the street and she's sitting there, yup.
Bruh.
Yup. I saw the whole thing. Her and her friends ain't seen nothing. Probably probably that one that's yelling in the street saw something, but her friends in the back backing her up. They ain't seen nothing. And all three of them, all three, four of them going to give different stories.
Bruh.
But you got to write that down as a police officer. You know how much work that is? Now, I don't know which any of my listeners police officers have ever worked in security or anything like that. But even just in security, I've done security, and that's a lot of paperwork to fill out when an incident happens. You know what I'm saying? So imagine you a police officer. They have to fill out way more paperwork, and they have to do way more paperwork. So imagine you're adding all that on, and then on top of that, that paperwork has to follow to the courts. You know what I'm saying? It has to follow to the courts.
Bruh.
Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing, but how do you monitor that? And that was something that I thought was, Sarah, thank you so much. I thought was a very good point to point out. How do you monitor that? How do you actually monitor these papers? What happened if papers are being lost because you holding 200 or 300 papers, interviews that you already did? And they also stated, if you could bring that up on the big screen for me, I do believe that they did mention a murder, some type of murder that just happened recently in Queens. I don't think we did that. So I don't know, but a murder that recently happened in Queens. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the examples to where they spoke to over 1,000 people. So they're speaking to about 1,000 or better. Now imagine filling out those additional reports if you were an officer. Let's throw that into everybody's face real quick. What would you do? What would you do, Ed?
Bruh.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't do it. But just imagine that. That's the type of work that these police officers would have to do. You would be doubling or tripling their loads. So they instead of these people getting off at 8 o'clock, now they got to fill out another 200, 300 pieces of paper, and that might take them about 2 more hours before they get home to their families. These are the things that I think we should think about as people, sorry, that we should think about as people, because even though I know a lot of my listeners, probably a lot of them, you know what I mean,
bruh,
don't like police officers in their neighborhood, but not every police officer is a corrupt officer. These are human beings. These are people that work just like you, and they want to get home just like you. When you have to work extra hours on your job because you have to do this or do for whatever reason it may be, that does make you cranky or affect your day because you don't want to be there. Think about the officers that's going to be going through that, and they have to be there for 2 or 3 more hours, and you have to get up early in the morning to do another shift.
bruh,
That's what I would be saying. And these are the things, some things I think that we have to think about. But this council of whatever, what congressman or whatever, was sitting around. They wasn't even thinking about that. Only thing they're thinking about is let's try to I think this was probably like an act of trying to get the community with the police, maybe, because that's what I think they was trying to do. Let's see how we could get the community to interact with the police even better. To all of y'all who thought that this was a big fail. This was a big fail. A very big fail to try to put as a bill for just for the police officers, to try to pass as a bill to make these police officers enforce these type of things. That is crazy. It is completely crazy that any and I mean this, that anybody that's in place of power to think that this was the answer to bringing police closer to the community that they work in.
bruh,
It's like, yo, let me say this. All y'all people that's up in these Senate and Congress, y'all are really up, man. Y'all are just straight up to try to even think about passing a bill like this. And it was passed. Oh, it was passed, and then he vetoed it. Yeah, that was. How did a bill like that even pass? How did it? You have to really wonder that. How did a bill like this even get on the table? Even get to be voted on? How? And this is what people we have to worry about. This is what we have to worry about. This is what we need to pay more attention to when we are putting our people of power in power. Because these are the things that they're voting on behind our back. These are the things that they're having these little silent, what they call them, little silent meetings or silent sessions or whatever, closed sessions. This is what they're doing behind our back. These are the bills that they're trying to pass behind our back. Thankful that the mayor caught it, but if he didn't, then what? And then think about how many other bills that hasn't been caught by him that are being enforced. They got this website, and I think I told you about this website before, but they do have a website called Stupid Laws. Yes, they have a website called Stupid Laws. Anybody listening, because not everybody, all my listeners are not from New York, but I found that out yesterday. But in your state, in your county, find out the stupid laws of your city. Just look it up, or just look up the laws, period, in your city, because they're trying to do this to New York with everything that New York is already dealing with as far as a migrant problem. And this might have been another reason why they try to do that, because this could have been a way of them trying to document migrants. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I'm throwing it out there because it's possible. Ed, it is very possible. The government is very sneaky and they will try anything anyway to, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you've never committed a crime in your life, just to get your name on the books. Just to get your name on the books. Yo, they are sneaky. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Bruh.
Sorry, you're distracting me too, Ed. Yo, you are distracting me. But yes, back to what I was saying. This is something that I really think would have devastated this city. It would have been a complete disaster if this law had really went into, you know, really went into full mode. This would have been a disaster on the city. Because I can't imagine walking down the block and you know, we're in New York, walking down the block. I mean, Ed, imagine you walking down the block, you see a car accident, somebody peels off, they run. Now the cops are chasing you down just to get a statement from you or something, what they call uh, the stop act. Just to get a statement from you because you saw something. Maybe you don't want to say nothing. Maybe you don't want to say what you see. Maybe you just want to keep going. Maybe you in a rush.
Bruh.
I'm just dropping situations like they did. You know? That's it. But applause to the mayor for stopping that. And that is my view, in my opinion, on this particular topic. Drop another bomb for me, Ed. Because this is crazy, man. This is a very crazy act to be trying to push. Very crazy. I mean, everybody, y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all give me y'all views, y'all opinions. Do you think the mayor was right for vetoing this? Do you think this act should actually be enforced? I mean, what do you really think? Because this, you got to understand. Some of these cops, not all of them, but some of them are corrupt. Matter of fact, we did a show. I did a show with a brother named Clayton, and y'all could check out. Yeah, he's on Facebook, so y'all could check out his. Y'all could check out his contact information. But he also talks about things like this because there are police who you know, when they have their little power, they will sit there, they will misuse this law. So that's something that I would definitely be worried about. That's something I would definitely be worried about because you got some crooked cops out there. They will use this law to benefit them because, as it is stated, they have to write down why they stopped you. What did you do that was so suspicious for them to stop you? You know what I mean? And they can lie on that paper. They can lie. But why, to me, why would we need such a bill to be passed? We have cameras. Right? We got cameras, right?
Bruh.
We got cameras. I'm just saying, we got cameras, right? Yeah, we don't need all of that. We got cameras. So what do we need a damn bill for? What you gotta stop everybody for? Zoom in on the camera, get the footage from the store, zoom in on the face, and blah 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 blah. That's it, you know? Whatever, Ed. I don't know. All right, check it out. If you like this content, want to hear more of it, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe, that like, that notification, and feel free to leave a comment. All right, folks, I'm getting out of here. All right, listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you are here with me, and I so appreciate that. Until next episode, ladies and gentlemen, stay blessed and not stressed. Peace out, y'all. I'll see y'all later.